Well, hello again. We're back, and it's a beautiful thing. Last time we talked about equations, and this time we're going to talk about inequalities. So inequalities. You know, way back when I first started teaching, I had a student. I was actually my first year teaching. Shout out to first years, right? One of the kids on one of the bonuses, I used to do like ridiculous bonuses, or sometimes they were serious. But one of the bonuses was what is the definition of an inequality? And she proceeds to like give me this long thing of inequality in the world, and like with like drawings and like sad stuff on there. And I was like, well, I'm going to give you the 10 points because all of that is true, but I just meant in math. So whenever I think of inequality now, that's what I think of. Also, these are terrible headphones. They're like, Apple should do better. They're painful. Okay, so first off, really quick, let's just go over the inequality symbols that there are, just because none of this is going to make sense unless you know what they are. So let's do the first one. The first one is this one. So that's a greater than symbol. So a good example would be, there you go. Like the Texans are greater than the Cowboys. That's a good one to do. So solid answer right there. Actually, you could probably put any team in this one. You could put the Patriots there. You know, I mean, their own quarterback left them, so, you know, see ya. Right? Just kidding. Okay, so that's a greater than symbol, so that just means that it's Texans are always greater, right? Okay, so then you got this one. This is the greater than or equal to symbol, so like, yep. Women are greater than or equal to men in intellect and just in general, right? So, like, we're equal, but, you know, we're also better than, you know, that's what the inequality says, you know. That's what it says. I mean, I wrote it, so it has to be true because I wrote it. Yeah. Okay, so let's do another one. Let's see. Another one is less than or equal to. So that's the other one. Less than or equal to. I always say like it looks like an L, so less than, right? So like yep. Yeah. Yep. Let me change my mind. Yeah, okay. So like video games is less than or you know equal to math. Like the love of your love of video games should be less than or equal to math. Not greater than, should be less than or equal to. Um yeah. Yeah, still true. Still true. Still true. And then the last one is the one that you guys know pretty well. This is a less than, right? So like I enjoy yeah. Remote learning. I enjoy remote learning less than I enjoy actual school. Yeah. It's not that one just speaks for itself, right? You know, talking to a computer versus talking to children, totally different. So today we're going to kind of do what we did with equations. So this time it's with inequalities, though. So if you remember the rules for equations, if is you're going to add or subtract first, then you're going to multiply or divide, and then whatever you do to one side of the inequality, you have to do to the other side. There is one big difference, and we will kind of touch on that in just a hot second. I mean, seconds can't be hot. Like temperature. Never mind. Never mind. I digress. Okay. Let's go with, that one's easy. Okay, I'll do that one. That's fine. That's fine. I already made these, and then I'm like debating them. Do I agree with myself? Okay, the answer is yes. Most of the time. Okay, so 2x plus 8 is greater than 12. So that means that this side right here would be greater than 12, not equal to 12. So this can't be 12. So if you're sitting there going, well, what would that mean? That would be x equals 2. That can't, it can't, x would have, well, I just gave you the answer without thinking about it. I did the math in my head. I'm so stupid. Okay, anyways, let's start over. Minus 8, because now instead of the equal sign, it's the greater than symbol. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do the other side. Shabam, get away. 12 minus 8 is 4. We're going to keep that inequality the same, and we're going to bring down this 2x. Okay, so remember, this is multiplication. The inverse of multiplication is division. So we're going to divide by 2. Divide by 2. And then if you remember, 2 divided by 2 is 1. If I multiply 1 times anything, it's just itself, so I don't really worry about it, so I cancel it out. And this is why I laughed at myself, because the answer is x has to be greater than 2. So if you plug in 2 right here, you would get 12. But 12 can't be greater than 12. I mean, if you have $12 and I have $12, I can't walk around smug and be like, I have more than you. We have the exact same. It's equal. So it has to be greater than 2. That could be like 2.1, 2.5, 2.000001. Some math people would be really upset with me for saying 0.01. They'd say, oh no, this is 2 1/100th. That is correct. That's the correct way to say it. But welcome to the world of Miss Wagner, where nothing is as it should. Like today, I'm wearing a geometry shirt. Why am I wearing geometry? I don't know. We're not doing geometry today. Or are we? No, just kidding. We're not doing that. We already did that. We can do it again. I don't want to right now. 8 plus 3y is greater than or equal to 29. Okay. All right. So we're going to do something a little bit different at the very end of this one. So just be prepared. Okay. Be prepared. Be prepared for what? For the death of the king. There will be no king. No king, no king. Whoa, 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 whoa. Idiots. No. I hang out with my husband too much. He quotes movies all the time. I'm so sorry. Okay. 8 plus 3y is greater than or equal to 29. So if you notice, you've got the 3 and the y are multiplying together. So I can't mess with that first. I got to get rid of this positive 8. Well, remember the way you get rid of a positive 8? You take it away. I'm just going to take away that 8, right? Whatever I do to one side, I have to do the other side. 8 minus 8 is 0. If I add 0 to your bank account, nothing happens. Except for I get a nice little laugh out of it. Okay, so then 29 minus 8 is 21. Okay, so then you sit there and you say, okay, well, this is multiplying. Remember, the inverse of multiplying is, should have said division if you didn't. Now you know it's division, so divide by 3, divide by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1, so I'm just going to cancel it out. Y is greater than or equal to 21 divided by 3. Remember, this is a division sign. 21 divided by 3 is 7. Now, this is the part where I said it's going to be a little bit weird. So if you remember, we don't stop there a lot of times. We actually have to graph. So the only thing that I care about on this graph is the number that it's supposed to be right here. So this is 7. So I'm just going to put 7 in the middle. Normally, you put 0 in the middle. Typically, when you're doing number lines, just because that's how you've been taught. But you can do whatever you want, especially when you're at home learning. Do whatever you want. Like right now I'm in shorts. Can't wear shorts to school, but I can wear them here, right? Okay, so anyways, 7. So now I have to graph it. So it says y has to be greater than 7. So we're talking about everything over here. Everything that's on this side. If you notice, it actually like almost like points that way. So your sign actually kind of points to where it's going to shade, right? So y has to be greater than 7. So here's 7, so it has to be greater than 7. And then it says it can also, y can also equal 7. That's what that line right there means. It means it can also equal 7. So we're just going to put a closed dot right there. Almost like saying, hey, it can be 7 or greater. 7 or greater. Okay, next. Why do I have this random towel here? I don't know. It's probably clean until right now in this moment. Oh well. Better than use my hand, right? Okay, so now we're going to get into some fun stuff. I told you that there was a trick, correct? Remember I did say that. I don't remember anymore. I don't write this stuff down. I just talk and see what comes out. Okay. So there's a rule with inequalities. And the rule states that if you multiply or divide by a negative, then you're going to have to flip the sign, the inequality sign, okay? So let's look at how that would look here. So we're going to do the same thing we normally do. I'm not going to mess with this right here because this is multiplying. I got to get rid of the adding and subtracting first. So this is adding 3, so the inverse of that would be to subtract 3. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do the other side. 23 minus 3 is 20. I know y'all got that because y'all are so smart. So then I'm going to bring this down. Now this is where it gets a little weird. Let's get weird, right? Okay, so if you notice, if you notice my 2 is weird. That's why I use a whiteboard and not anything else. Okay, so if you notice, this is a negative 5 that's being multiplied. So when I'm multiplying by a negative 5, the inverse would be to divide by negative 5. Now, here's the rule. Here's the weird rule. When you multiply or divide by a negative, so the thing that you're actually doing to both sides, so this part is negative, that means that that inequality is now not a greater than sign, it's a less than sign. Okay? X, 20 divided by a negative 5. If you remember, we did that weird mad cat thing. So a positive divided by a negative is a negative. And then 5, 10, 15, 20. Hopefully you're going, 20 divided by 5 is 4. You'd be right. So if you notice my sign flipped. Okay, so now when I'm graphing this, negative 4 is in the middle because I do what I want. You should try it. No, I'm just kidding. Can't always do what you want, right? Okay, it's going to be less than. So if you notice, it's pointing this way. And then there's not an equal to sign. So it can't be negative 4. It has to be less than negative 4. So I'm going to put an open dot here. It's pretty much saying, not this one. Don't count me. Everything less than me, but don't count me. Hopefully you're also thinking of a number line and going, okay, this would be negative 5, negative 6, negative 7, right? As they go down. Okay. Maybe you're not, and you should. Okay. All right. Let's do one more. Only one. It's going to be a short one today. Just kidding. This is not short. So many examples because there's so many options. Usually there wouldn't be as many examples. It's just because there's so many options. Okay. Okay. All right, that works. Okay. This is the weird one that like probably messed you up on the equations video too, where it's like, what is that? Right? Almost like that old video where they're like, what are those? By the way, if you still say that, it's not funny anymore. Please stop saying it. Please. Please stop saying it. Okay. All right. So I'm not going to deal with this. This is division, if you remember. So I'm actually going to deal with this one first. So I'm going to take away 4. Super easy so far. 13 minus 4. If you're sitting there going, I don't know what 13 minus 4 is, figure it out. Hopefully you got 9. We're going to help. If not, it's 9. Okay, so then I'm going to I canceled those out. So now I'm going to still have my x divided by -3. Now, if you remember, right now what we're going to do is we're going to literally say, okay, the inverse of division is multiplication. But here's the problem. I'm multiplying by a negative on both sides. Now, let me be clear. If this 9 was negative and this was actually still positive, the sign wouldn't flip. It's only because it's what you're doing to both sides. Okay? When you are multiplying or dividing by a negative on both sides, like I take it and I move it both sides, that's when it flips. So in this case, it's going to flip because 9 times a -3 is -27, but I multiplied by that negative right there. So I'm going to actually flip this sign. And now it's a greater than or equal to sign. So once again, I'm going to graph it. -27 goes in the middle. And if you remember, it points the way that it shades. So I'm going to shade this way. And then it's also equal to -27. So I'm going to put a little dot right there. Little pretty little dot. Okay. So hopefully that helped. The big thing is with equations, if you had an answer, you could actually plug it in. With inequalities, you could plug in answers. It's easier just to solve, and it'll help you kind of prepare for algebra and things like that, because algebra is great. It's wonderful. Don't get me started on that much algebra. Okay, all right. So, yup. It's funny meeting you here again. Hopefully, we'll meet again soon, right? And it'll be a beautiful experience for all of us. So I guess, goodbye. Just want to make sure there wasn't anything on my hand.